This is the practice equation word problems. Okay, so number one says Mo wants to save $260 to buy decorations for his room. He starts with $26 and earns $9 per hour. So we have to figure out how many hours he has to work to reach his goal. So let's again take it piece by piece. He wants to save $260. So that is our total. We could either put it at the beginning or the end, doesn't matter. But since it's a total, it needs the equal sign after. Then he starts with $26, so that's 26. And remember, and means to add, so plus. And $9 per hour, so 9. But we don't know how many hours. So again, when we don't know in math, use a variable to represent an unknown number. So we can put h for hours. Okay, now that it's set up, we follow our same steps. Equal sign, we draw the line. Next, we want to get the h by itself. However, there is the term here, positive 26, next to it. So let's get rid of that. So the opposite or inverse of positive is negative. So let's subtract 26 to both sides. Left side, 260 minus 26 should give us 234. And then after that, bring down our equal sign. 26 minus itself is 0. Just cancel that out. Bring down the 9h that we have not used yet. And now we're looking at multiplication, 9h, which is 9 times h. So remember, with an equation, whatever we see, we have to do the inverse or the opposite operation. So opposite of multiplying is dividing. And we divide by the coefficient. Remember, coefficient is just a number in front of the variable that's multiplying it. So we need to divide by 9, as we want the 9 to disappear. Remember, balance, do the same thing to the other side as well. 234 divided by 9 should be 26. Let's just double check. Yep, there we go. So 26 and equals 9 divided by itself is 1. Don't put the 1, just cancel. Bring down our h, and boom, we're all done. So he has to work 26 hours, which is choice A. Okay, number 2. First section of a stadium has 304 people. Second section has 108. The other 3 sections have an equal amount of people, and there are a total of 610 people. So again, piece by piece, it says first we have 304 people in the first section. Then we have another section, so we need to add, since we're looking for the total. There are 108 in the second section. And then we add again because it says we have 3 more sections which have an equal amount of people. Now, we don't know exactly what number that is, so that's fine. We can use a variable. Any letter is fine. I'll just put x. And now it says there are a total, which means equals 610 people. Once it's set up, terms on one side for 108 and positive 3 side. What we want to do is to combine like terms. So let's just rewind. Remember, like terms can have the same variable. Unfortunately, nothing else has the x except this 3x. But we can combine these. These are constants. Constant is a number with no variable. And here's another one. Just be careful. Make sure you circle the operation with it, because it tells you when to add or subtract. This is saying 304 plus 108, which is going to be 412. And we're just going to and bring down the 610. So now from here, we only have two more steps. We're looking to get the x by itself. However, we do see the positive 412. That, and the inverse or opposite of a positive is a negative, so we want to subtract 412 on both sides. 412 minus itself is 0. Let's just cancel that. Then we're going to bring down our positive 3x and our equal sign. And 610 minus 412 is going to be 198. Again, you should be, excuse me, double check it on your calculator just to be sure. And then here, the last thing, just double check. All right, so we had 610 minus 412, 198, right? Now, last step, we want to divide 198 by 3, since it says there are equal amount of people. That's multiplying 3 times x, so the opposite or inverse of multiplying is to divide. So we divide both sides by 3, and we get x by itself. X is equal to 66, so this means that each of those 3 sections have 66 people. All right, so that's choice C. All right, 2 down, we have a few more to go. Let's go to number 3. So Ricky sells $500 worth of merchandise each day. If he sold one item for $129, one item for $83, and another for $194, what is the amount of his last item? So it gives us a total. It says he sold a total of $500 worth of things. Then it says one of the items was sold for $129, and then another one, so we're adding, for $83, and then another one for $194, and then we have to figure out the last item. So we don't know. Let's just put a variable. You can use any letter. I'm just using x for the time being. So now equal sign, draw the line. And this problem is a little bit similar to question 2, where we have several terms on one side. This time we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Right? So anytime you have more than 2 terms on one side, what you want to do is to try to see if you can combine the like terms. Again, just like in number 2, we know that x doesn't have any other like terms, but we do have quite a few constants. So remember, the constants are numbers with no variables. Make sure you circle the operation. And the constants also have to be on the same side. So just going back to number 2, for example, that's why I circle the 304 and the positive 108, but I cannot circle the 610 because that's on the other side of the equal sign. So that's why we also draw the line. So let me get rid of that. Same thing here. This 500 is not a like term with the 129, the 83, and the 194 because it's on the other side. It's on the left side of our equation. So that's not a like term. Okay, so let's add them up, see what we get. So 129 plus 83 plus 194, oops, equals 406. So this is going to say 406. Then we're going to bring everything else down. So 500 equals 406. Bring down our plus x. And now this is one step. We have x, but we want to get rid of the positive 406. So that means the opposite is to subtract 406 as a negative. 500 minus 406 is going to be 94. Bring down our equal sign. 406 minus itself is 0. Just cancel it. Bring down our x, and we're finished. So answer is $94. So I'm just putting a dollar sign like in our answer choice, which is choice D. right, let me actually just move this down a little bit, give you a little bit of spacing so you can have more room to see. All right, number 4. Uber driver charges an initial fee of $2.10 plus 80 cents per mile. Carmen paid a fare of $11.70. We have to find the number of miles that she traveled. Says the initial fee was $2.10, so let's put that. Plus, okay, so we obviously put plus 80 cents per mile, but it doesn't tell us how many miles, so we need a variable, since we don't know. Let's just put the letter M for miles. And she paid a fare of $11.70, so that is our total. Okay, now, same steps, equal sign, draw the line. We want to get M by itself, but there is another term in front of it, which is positive $2.10. So let's perform its inverse operation. Opposite of positive is negative. And whatever we do on one side, we have to write the same exact thing on the other. Let's do that. $2.10 minus itself is 0. Let's cancel that. Bring down our 80 cents M, 0.80 M, and equals. And now 1170 minus 210 is going to be $9.60. And we know that we're looking at multiplication since it says 0.80 M or 0.80 times M. The inverse of multiplying is division. We divide by the coefficient. Again, that's just a number next to the variable that we want to go away. And we do the same thing to both sides. 0.80 divided by itself is 1. We don't have to put the 1. Bring down our M and our equal sign. 960 divided by 0.80 should be 12. Choice B. Let's just double check it. Again, always good practice to double check. Yep, 12. So her ride was 12. Okay, we have 3 more to go. Let's scroll down. A little bit more space for you. And we're on to number 5 now. So 5. Miss Smith buys 12 student tickets and 12 adult tickets to a play. The total amount she pays for the tickets is $359.40. If the price of each student ticket is $10.25, what is the price of each adult ticket? Okay, this one we have to set up a little bit differently, given the context of the situation. So Miss Smith buys 12 student tickets. So this particular problem may not necessarily go in order. 12 tickets, but before I put plus 12 adult tickets, it does also tell me the price of each student ticket is $10.25. This means if 12 students go, each of the 12 have to pay $10.25. So that's telling us it's actually multiplying the 12 students by the price that they're going to pay for being students. Okay. Now I can put plus, so that's there, plus 12 adult, 12. But we don't know how much. However, it did give us the variable to use, letter A, so we'll use that for adult. And it gives us the total, so that's equals $359.40. Okay. So again, equal sign, draw the line. Before we do anything, we want to get rid of parentheses, and we should remember we can get rid of it by multiplying, since that is the operation for which parentheses is there for. So 12 times $10.25 gives us $123. So 1, 2, 3. Then bring down our other terms we haven't used yet. So plus 12a equals $359.40. And we want to get a by itself. However, we do see the positive 123. So it's inverse. Opposite of positive is negative. Let's do that to both sides. Also be careful, make sure you're lining up the whole number with the whole number, like how I did here. You will answer if you line up, for example, don't do this, but if you line up the 123 here, you can't do that because look, this is the cents part. And the 123, that's dollars. So again, you want to line up the dollars underneath the dollars. So you can do that. You don't actually need to put decimals, the decimal point here, and then the 0, 0 for the cents, because again, it's still going to be 40 cents. So you don't have to do that, but just be careful that you line up the 123 properly. Okay. Left side, 123 minus itself is 0. Just cancel that. Bring down our 12a that we haven't used yet. Bring down our equal sign. And now 359.40 minus 123 should be 3 minus 1 is 2, 5 minus 2 is 3, 9 minus 3 is 6, and bring down to 40 cents. So $236.40. And our last operation here, we're looking at multiplying since it says 12a, or 12 times a. So inverse of that is to divide. So divide by the coefficient 12 on both sides. 12's cancel. 12 divided by 1 is 1. Or sorry, 12 divided by itself is 1. Bring down our a, bring down our equal sign, and let's figure out the price for each adult ticket. So $236.40 divided by 12 is $19.70. I know it says 7, but remember it's dollars and cents, so we need that hundredth as a decimal place. All right, so 1970. So we have 2 more problems to go. We're on to number 6. Okay, Jill sold half of her comic books and then bought 16 more. She now has 36. How many comic books did she begin with? All right, take it again piece by piece. For comic books, and half, which means, remember in math, half is 1 over 2. So what we actually could put, we could just leave C and put C over 2, because remember, when we have a variable by itself, like the letter C, it already has an invisible 1. So we don't have to put the 1 C over 2, we could just put C over 2 for now. So she sold half, and then she bought more, so that means she's getting more comic books, so plus, she bought 16 more, and she now has 36 comic books. So that's how we set it up. Now to solve, again, equal sign, let's draw a line. Next to the variable, I see another term, the positive 16, it says plus 16. So let's do the inverse or opposite, and let's subtract 16, both sides. So bring down our C over 2, C divided by 2. 16 minus itself is 0, so just cancel that. Bring down our equal sign. 36 minus 16 is 20. And here you should remember from the other practice activities that we worked on with fractions, a fraction is division. Inverse or opposite operation, which is to multiply. And now here's where you can put the 1. I mentioned before you didn't have to put the 1 in the beginning, but sometimes we forget it's there, so just put. So your fraction here is actually 1 over 2. And to get rid of the fraction, we multiply it by the reciprocal. So instead of 1 over 2, it becomes 2 over 1. Make sure you do it to both sides, times 2 over 1. And from practicing before, We know that 20 is a whole number. Let's also make that a fraction by putting it over 1, since that does not change our value. 20 divided by 1 is still 20. That's why the denominator for that has to be 1. Okay, now, again, all this should be familiar practice to you by now. But the reason we multiply a fraction by its reciprocal is because it will eliminate that fraction for us, since it's going to be 1. We cross cancel. 2 is 1, just cancel that. 1 divided by 1 is 1, just cancel that. Bring down our letter C and our equal sign. And now we can multiply our numerators. 20 times 2 is 40. Multiply our denominators. 1 times 1 is 1. And finally, C equals 40 divided by 1 is still 40. So our answer is 40. So she began with 40 comic books, sold half of them, which would be 20. And then added 16. 20 plus 16 is 36. So that's how you can check if you're correct. Last but not least, we have number 7. And 7 says Alexandra must solve the equation 5. Let's just write it down. Times x plus 3 equals 90. If she multiplies 5 by x, so let's just start to set it up as we're reading it. 5 times x. If she does that, what would her final 3 steps be to solve the rest of the problem? So let's just write that. It's final 3 steps. Well, if she did 5 times x, she would have gotten 5x. Okay. So what else can we do? Let's say our next step. So before you write out the 3 steps, note that the hint says first work out the problem. So we'll do that. And then it says then explain your steps. So let's work it out first. So they did already 5 times x. So our next thing, since we already started distributing, would be to distribute again. So 5. And notice how I'm always, when I'm distributing, always putting the arrow to the operation. This way I know my sign. So 5 times positive 3. So positive times positive is still positive. 5 times 3 is 15. Then we're going to bring everything else down. So let's just write our steps as we're going along. So first thing we did was multiply 5 times positive 3. Okay, that's all we've done so far. Next, okay, equal sign, draw the line, but that's not necessarily a step. That's just something we do to keep the left side separate from the right. So let's look at what we do for step 2. Okay, we want to get x by itself, but it says plus 15. So we know we have to perform inverse or opposite operation of that. So opposite of adding is to subtract. So we're going to subtract 15 on both sides. So let's write that down before we do anything else. Subtract 15 on both sides of the equation. Okay. And then we'll get to step 3, but before we do, let's just finish step 2. Bring down our 5x. 15 minus itself is 0, just cancel that. Bring down our equal sign. And now 90 minus 15 is going to give us 75. So now we're ready for step 3, final step. So we're looking at multiplication, as it says 5x or 5 times x. So the inverse or opposite of multiplying is to divide. We divide by the coefficient. So that number in front of x is 5. Do that to both sides. And left side 5 divided by itself is 1. Just cancel that. Bring down our x and equals, and 75 divided by 5 is 15. So x equals 15. So just remember, to answer this question, it's not asking for the answer, which is x equals 15, but it's asking for our final 3 steps. So the final step, step 3 here that we just did, which was to divide by 5 on both sides of the equation. So this is the answer you're looking for. We have to write the final 3 steps, which was number 1, just highlight it again. Multiply 5 times positive 3. Then our step 2, highlight that. Subtract 15 on both sides of the equation. And our last step was step 3, which was here. Divide by 5 on both sides of the equation. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. Make sure you let me know if you have questions. Rewind, rewatch, and I'll catch you on the next one.